welcome back to my channel. So in yesterday's video, it was coming up on 20 minutes, and I knew that it was going to take me 3 hours to upload it, so I kind of shut it off before I finished opening my mail. But I do have a couple more pieces of Happy Mail. So I have a card here, and it is from Slidell, Louisiana, and it's from Beverly. And look how beautiful it is. I can see the seagulls flying over Lake Pontchartrain, Beverly. But it says 5 things God wants you to remember in trying times. You're never, ever alone. Nothing takes him by surprise. When you're weak, he's strong. He's the God of new beginnings. His love never gives up on us. Those are such comforting phrases. Thank you, Beverly, for sending me this gorgeous card. It means a lot to me. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. That's from Psalm 73, verse 26. Trusting him to carry you through. And Beverly writes, praying for you. And she puts a little heart in there. You're very thoughtful and sweet, and I just love you so much, Beverly. Thank you. And then I have a package here. It's from Donna Johnston. And she wrote, the stamp on the package is military working dogs. Oh my goodness, y'all look. Isn't this wonderful? Labrador Retriever, a military working dog. I've never seen a stamp like that before. And it's mailed from Lindale, Georgia. I'm just wondering, Donna, can you only buy those stamps on a military base? Just wondering at the commissary or something. Postmaster, please don't bend. Okay, let me open it and see what Donna has sent me. I'm always terrified of cutting into my packages. I would just die if I cut something. And I am a stamp collector, so I'm definitely going to keep this stamp. Oh, look at this. Wild and Scenic Rivers. Oh my goodness. Look at this set of stamps. These are absolutely gorgeous. Oh my. Oh, and it has the names of them. Merced River. I can't see it, y'all. I'm going to have to get out my magnifying glass. Oh, the Kayakuk River, Flathead River, Clarion River. You know, these are, oh, the Missouri River. Oh, look at that one right here, the Missouri River. That's beautiful. I love the sunset. These are so pretty. It's so sweet of you to remember me. I just appreciate it so much, Donna. Stamps enclosed. They are a tight fit, so may need to tear the bag. Okay. Cardboard just to keep them flat. Oh, you're so sweet to be so so careful with mailing these to me. And oh, a beautiful card with warm thoughts of you. This is so pretty. Look at the violets. Oh, these are little pansies. Oh, okay. I thought they were violets. Wonder if these are those little pansies too? And the cup. This is so pretty. Thank you. Sending this to keep in touch and let you know you're cared about and thought of often. With much love, your friend, Donna. Oh, Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, I'm going to pause it now, and we're going to go in the kitchen, and I will show you what I'm cooking for my Sunday dinner. So welcome back to my channel, and today is Sunday, August the 25th, and I'm going to show you what I'm cooking for my Sunday dinner. And it's one of my one skillet meals. That's simple and easy and a quick cleanup. So let's take a look at what's in the oven. Okay, so here it is. I have one chicken breast that I cut in half, and I kind of blackened it in the olive oil. And I did use the olive oil from my friend Zeus Phillips Gourmet Foods Company. It is has garlic in it and bay leaves and thyme and all kinds of herbs. And then I just threw in a couple of potatoes and some cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. So I'll boil some noodles, and this is going to be my Sunday dinner. And I put it in a fairly hot oven. I have it set at 375 today. Now y'all know that Sunday dinner is really eaten right after church. And it's usually around 1 o'clock, 1 or 2 o'clock whenever we have our Sunday dinner. So I was just wondering if any of you guys still refer to lunch as dinner and dinner as supper. I mean, when I was growing up, there was no such thing as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was always breakfast, dinner, and supper. I don't know if that's just a regional southern thing, or if that's worldwide that people call supper dinner now. So just wondering how y'all call it in your household. Oh. I'm always out of breath and thirsty. But I wanted to tell y'all a little story, and it's about when John and I were married, and I had told y'all about the story about when we were at the bank. It was called Citizens Bank in Mandeville, Louisiana, and I had been real sick. I had suffered from a thyroid problem that went undiagnosed for 2 or 3 years, and I was very sick. I could not function at all, and so I was not able to work, and John was either taking care of me or drinking all the time. So it was about a year that we really didn't have that much of an income. So we had gone to the bank, and we were at the drive-through window, and the lady, the teller that was helping us, just started screaming, saying, "Oh my God, oh my God." And she said, "We're being robbed." So there was a guy inside the bank, robbing them when we were at the drive-through. So he ran out of the bank, and he had on a bright yellow shirt. It was easy to spot him. So John and I just took off from the drive-through window and followed the bank robber. And by then we saw the cop cars. They were coming towards us as we were following the bank robber. So we started trying to flag them down to tell them, "Look, the guy that robbed the bank, is right there in that car." So this bank robber, he pulled into a parking lot, and he had another car waiting for him. But this was in the 1980s, so y'all remember those old Oldsmobile Cutlasses and cars like that, and I think Pontiac Le Mans. They all looked alike, So the bank robber, he had used an old Oldsmobile when he robbed the bank, and then whenever he turned into the parking lot to change cars, it was an old Pontiac that just looked just like the old Oldsmobile. So by the time he pulled out of there, we had already notified the police that he was the bank robber. So they pulled him over, and he had the money stashed there underneath the front seat. I don't know whatever became of that, but I will link the video where I told the original story about the bank robber in the bright yellow shirt. But anyway, John and I had bought an old car. It was an old Ford Ford Fairlane or something like that. And the bank had given us a reward of $1,000 for catching the bank robber. So we took that $1,000 and bought the old car. I had a Nissan Maxima that we had bought in Tennessee, but after I got sick and John wasn't working, we couldn't keep up the notes on it anymore. So we just let it go back to Nissan. So we bought this old blue Ford Fairlane, and about that same time, John got a job, a really nice job offer, which was located in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it was for the same type of company that he had been working for, that he had gotten fired from because of his drinking. That company was called Medco, and it stands for the Metallizing Company of America. And so John did work for them for 6 years, and I did tell that story, but this was a different metallizing company, and it was called Eutectic. I think it was spelled Eutectic. So they hired John to be their field engineer to cover Virginia and Tennessee and Kentucky and that eastern part of the United States. So John and I were living in Mandeville at the time, and so we had to move to Knoxville. Well, the company paid for a moving van to come, and they packed up all of our stuff and everything. So they, the moving van took our stuff to Knoxville, and so we were on the highway headed that way, and that old Ford Fairlane broke down. And it had started making a weird noise. So we pulled off at a rest stop, and then the car just wouldn't start at all. I think it ended up being the water pump. Well, there was this nice man at the rest stop, and he came over to see if he could help us. And he was a true cowboy. He had on a cowboy hat, and he drove a real nice truck and everything. So I guess he knew a lot about automobile mechanics, because he, got in there and opened up the hood and started looking around, and he could tell that it was the water pump. Well, this was a Saturday afternoon, and I think all the auto parts stores were closing up and everything. But this man, he had a friend who owned an auto parts store. So he took John and I and the 3 kids to a motel, and we got a room, and we stayed there on Saturday night. And so the man told us that he would contact his friend and go and buy the water pump for us, and see about getting our car repaired so we could get back on the road and head on to Knoxville. Well, that Sunday morning, John and I got a taxi to take us out to the rest stop. And when we got there, the man that had offered to help us, I wish I could remember his name, but I'm not even sure if he even told us his name. It was like he was just an angel that just appeared out of nowhere to help us in our time of need. And when we got there that Sunday morning, he had a tarp laid out underneath the car, and he was laying underneath the car on his back, repairing the water pump. And he had his tools laid out everywhere. And y'all, he had gone to that auto parts store and bought all of the parts that we needed for him to repair that old car. And he did it, and wouldn't take any money for the part or anything. He was just there out of the goodness of his heart to help us. And like I said, it's like sometimes when you're at your worst moment in life, and you think, what am I going to do? Where are we going to go? We didn't have that much money. We were just barely had enough to make it to Tennessee. And so I just wanted to tell y'all about that and our miracle that happened to us there on the highway at that rest area. So I've always been thankful to God for that nice gentleman that stopped that day to help us. He really went out of his way, and like I said, I wish I could remember his name, but that was so long ago. I'm sure he's probably no longer with us. He was probably in his 50s at that time. But anyway, speaking of moving, I told y'all the other day that I had some wonderful news for you, and it pertained to me and my channel, and that is I have an apartment in New York. Yes, I spent this past week at Jill's, and we did find an apartment for me, and it is a studio apartment, but it's at least twice, maybe three times the size of this one. And it's furnished, but I am going to buy a new bed, and it does not have a bed in it now, but it has a sofa and a TV, and I'm not going to use their TV. I'm going to take my flat screen that Jill gave me when I moved in here several years ago. Um, and they already have a place where I can put the flat screen TV, because I ended up getting rid of the table that I had it set on when I got rid of my cable. But anyway, the apartment is in a very nice area in New York, and I will be close enough to Jill, a lot closer than I am now. So I will be helping her with the children, and I will be continuing with my videos, and we're going to get out and go into Manhattan and go to the museums and go to restaurants, and we'll tour some of the shops there on Madison Avenue, and I won't be going inside of them or anything, because I probably couldn't even afford to buy a keychain or anything in there, but we will do some window shopping. So I'm so excited that my channel is going in a new direction now. Although I've had a wonderful time here these past 2 years, filming the Asbury Park Boardwalk and the tents over at Ocean Grove, and watching Little Snowflake and